Welcome back to Surface Unscripted, episode 178, if I'm not mistaken. And well, Brevin might be wearing white and stuff, but I'm wearing full-on black because it feels like I've just watched the death of my beautiful, beloved Stormers this weekend. We're going to chat about round 11 of the URC, and we'll mostly focus on the South African teams, the same as the preview, because we don't really know everything about all the depth of the other teams in it. Brevan, oh man, you feeling okay? At least we had some glorious Super Rugby, by the way. My focus has mostly been on the Super Rugby this weekend because that was sensational.
Yeah, the Super Rugby was good. Like we said it in the last episode, like we're not necessarily going to cover it, but like watch it because you'll be blessed to some of the best rugby you've ever seen, and that's exactly what was delivered. But other than that, I'm shite. I mean, we both are. This is terrible. It's not often.
Are we both going to go on rants today?
Both lost.
We might both go on a little rant.
Yeah, maybe.
To be fair, right? I don't even want to go on a rant. I'm not going to go on a rant. I'll better myself because it feels like I'm ranting every single week at the moment. But yeah, anyway, people, if you do like bit of Surface Unscripted and you do like us sitting here sad, feels like every week, please do consider hitting that subscribe button. Obviously it's free, but yeah, we appreciate you guys. Anyway, let's start off with the abomination that was the Lions versus the Stormers. We'll chat about the Six Nations come Friday because obviously the Six Nations returns. Thank fuck, right? But the Lions, there's no other way to describe it than just taking the Stormers to the cleaners on Saturday. Like, do we talk about the defense once again? Huh, Brevin? What is going on? Do we talk about the injuries again? No, you can't. You can't.
Honestly, like, I thought the Stormers forward pack had to do so much better. I really thought you'd have the upper hand, and I don't know. I don't know how the Stormers lost this, to be honest. I mean, the Lions
were so confident.
Like, the Lions have been all right this season. Don't get me wrong. They take nothing away from them. Great victory. But if you look at their records against South African teams, it's shocking.
They're in 12th, Brevin. I'm not taking this bullshit of them. They've been all right. They started all right, and then they... Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, but like the records against the South African teams is dismal for them. And yeah, I mean, I was shocked at how they just went. I mean, if the Stormers hadn't just let them build such a big lead in the beginning, I think there might have been a different ball game. But at the end of the day, like, you can't be giving a team such a big advantage. So
no, you know. Never. Brevin, it is. We spoke about it in the preview, right? And we spoke about Dobbo's interview after that Bulls game, where it was like, if you add this player, if you add that player. And it was kind of like, okay, well, then we could have beat a Bulls team that probably had most of their strongest players, right? Like, obviously, you still had, there was still no Ruan Orkia and no Elrich Louw and no Johan Goosen against the Stormers, right? But there was this caveat of, okay, well, the Stormers could have done it against the Bulls team that was sitting in third, right? What do you say this time around? Because the Lions, they are in 12th, right? We played the exact same team. It's in South Africa. We were so confident. And once again, that defensive disaster class. I mean, I don't even know what to put it down to, because it's like we made Kwon Horn look like he had all the space in the world in the back line. And every single dummy fell for. He hit gaps like it was absolutely nothing. And Kwon Horn isn't really your hitting the gap type of guy, right? Like, he's a hard runner and whatever, but he's nothing crazy in terms of creativity. He's a great player, but we made him look like he will be the Springbok 15. That's kind of the way that we did. Similarly, since We've been talking about how good his performance was against Sale. Has been stinking it out, right? Like, I don't want to name drop him like that, right? But not necessarily in attack. We all know he's a talented attacker. He's a talented player. But the defense, holy shit. What did I even witness? All of those tries just felt like that is a defensive disaster class. And this is a week out type thing. And it's inexcusable at this point. Because that's not injuries that does that. That's just bad structure, bad defense. Like, I'm not going to put that down. We didn't lose this game because of injuries. You look at the team that we put out. Yuri Mattia in that 10 jersey. I mean, he doesn't look like he wants to play for that 10 jersey. Knowing Sasha's not there, knowing Damien isn't there, knowing Mani isn't there. You should have taken that opportunity. And yet, it's just like there's no oomph in the team. The only guy that really puts up performances is Evan Roos. Like, holy shit, that guy's playing some proper rugby at the moment. The only guy that's showing some actual heart and fight for the team.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. It's a total shame. And I've said this a million times, but it's at what point do you draw the line and you say, okay, well, you guys are stinking it out. The form is shit. We're playing shit. How about even if we get beat, right? Because we're getting beat anyway. How about we play some youngsters? Because I love Paul de Villiers. I love Paul de Villiers. Get me another 9. Put a young 9 there. Put a young guy there in the back line or whatever. Play Jonathan Rausch, who we've been praising since he's coming to this team, because he also shows some fight. Right? I love that Jonathan Rausch guy. He's playing sensational. But I don't know. Is this jobs for the boys? What is going on? Like, at some point, you have to draw the line and say, okay, it's time for change. You have to fight for your jersey again. Because this is unacceptable. Because if you look at the URC and you talk about the top 5 teams, right, you would never say this Stormers team actually won it and they got to a final and they got to a quarterfinal. The way that we are playing, never. In terms of fight for the jersey, are you kidding me?
Yeah, like, I think there's a lot of issues at the moment. Like you said, the structure is disgraceful when it comes to defense. But also, forget that as well. Missed tackles it's not something you can teach, right? That's just on you. Like, if you ain't making your tackles, that's on you. You can't blame that on anything.
Yeah, well, you can blame the amount of overlaps that they had every single time they threw that ball out wide.
Like, obviously, that's also maybe an effort thing. Players not interested in getting back to where they need to be. But yeah, I also think there's a leadership issue. I don't think Murat is the right guy.
Yes.
I think you got to have Dion Ferreira as your captain. Like, I understand he's on his way out, but you need a guy that's going to put this team straight back into order where it needs to be for the time being. There's a lot of puzzle pieces that are just not there. And like you said, you can blame injuries all you want. But like you said, when it comes to structure, as we see Leinster do it. When the big boys leave and they don't have their big names, these younger guys come in, but they know the structure and they play it. And like, it's a seamless interaction. And I feel like the Stormers are almost like either the structure being coached is incorrect or the players just aren't doing enough to get it right. Like, make of that what you want. But yeah, you have every right to be upset. I mean, it's just week in, week out, right? Bulls probably should, like I said, should have won. Lions game, to be honest, no disrespect to the Lions, but they are the team that you look at for each South African team and think, we can really get one done there.
They'll put up a fight, but you are expected to get the victory. Because like most of those Lions players, they get bought to go to the Bulls, the Stormers, the Sharks, because that's where the money gets spent. The Lions are a great team. Don't think I'm shooting them down at all, right? Like, we were full of praise for them at the start of the season. They probably play the sexiest rugby for the South African teams. But they can't compete in terms of depth. If you had to do a combined 15 between the Stormers and the Lions, 80% of them are Stormers, right? At least, in my opinion. The thing is, we've got these flashy stuff But where's like the proper workhorses? The one that we had, I don't know what's gotten into him, right? I don't know where Ben Jason Dixon is, and that's not my Ben Jason Dixon, right? That guy's gone. What the hell is going on? Like, obviously, I want him to wake up and be this amazing player because I'm only so passionately ranting about this team. Like, I'm not even mad at the moment because it's as you said, week in, week out. It's just because of we love this team. I'm passionate about this team. I want this team to perform. And when you feel like you're a fan and you almost carry more pride for the team than the actual guys running out there, I'm not saying I am, right? Because I know they want to play for the jersey, but why aren't they playing for the jersey? Why does everything feel so lackluster? Why does it feel like such a drag? Why are we taking about a minute and a half to get to our own lineouts? Where's the urgency? Where's the pace that we always used to set on these teams? I mean, we get that ball in the back line, and usually when that happens, we are so clinical. We don't even know what we want to do with the ball.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't feel like we run a single set piece. It's crazy. And I don't want to take anything away from the Lions because it was a great performance. The Lions deserve to win that game. I'm not going to sit here and say the Stormers should have won that game. I mean, you don't deserve to win any game if you defend like that. Right? Great try there by Edwin van der Merwe. Koan Horn was played out of his skin. Ruan Venter is playing some sensational rugby. And the Bulls will probably be looking at him as well soon. I wouldn't be surprised. And that's why the Lions have got a bunch of their players in that Springbok lineman camp. And the way that the Stormers are playing, I'm like, don't take them to a lineman camp. Keep them in the Stormers camp to actually train some system. Because there's no system. I feel like we are ESCOM. There's no system. It's off. Lights are off, bro. I don't even know what I just said, but it's oh, it just feels like the standards are a bit in the bin. I don't even know what to expect. I don't. Like, what team am I looking at? I'm like, okay, well, we'll beat them comfortably. Because I was looking at this Lions game. I can't remember the last time the Lions beat us.
It's been a while. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get any better for me either. So,
what do you do with the Stormers? Is that just signings? For me, it's not even signings. Like I said, signings. I would love some proper forward signings, like props and whatever, right? Coming through, like just young talent, just building on the depth there. Because obviously, Malherbe is not the youngest guy. Kitshoff is not the youngest guy if he's coming back or whatever, right? So I want a couple of young props. It's not signings, it's rotation. Get youngsters on the field. Have you seen how good the youngsters of the Western Province are doing? I'd like that they just win every single game. None of them are getting a look in. You look at Ethan Hooker, who's just come out of absolutely nowhere for the Sharks, right? And we'll talk about the Sharks in a second. That guy is a Springbok all the way. I would play him as a wing for the Springboks. I'd play him as inside centre for the Springboks or at outside centre. Back up in all of those. But just look at how good he is. And that guy just came out of nowhere. Now, why aren't we doing the exact same thing at the Stormers?
Honestly, I do think there needs to be a bit more. I think your depth's getting built for the players that don't necessarily feature all the time. But then, like you say, they need to take the opportunities because it feels like they're just doing themselves injustice week in, week out, and they're not actually building any experience and just busy losing. But at the same time, like I just think depth needs to be brought in. So some quality players, where if you do get an injury, you can kind of say, look, we have someone that's able to cover this.
Yeah.
The other thing is the youngsters is a definite. I mean, guys like Hanekom, guys like Hooker, guys like Lorenzo Julius, all these guys, they don't get exposure until their clubs play them at this level, at URC level, And look, Hanekom took his chance, Lorenzo Julius took his chance, Hooker's taking his chance. And the Storm, trust me, the Western Province guys will take their chance. I know that for sure. So it is
how many Lucy's stinkers are we away from a Paul de Villiers start? How many scrum off stinkers are we away from a Imad Khan opportunity? How many center stinkers are we away from a Jonathan Rauch proper run opportunity? How many back three stinkers are we away from a JC Moss opportunity? Like, it is, you just think, what more has to happen? Is this just like we are afraid to put our youngsters out there? You look at the Lions that only play youngsters, and they just beat us. Right? They hardly have any experience there, and they beat us. So, yeah, I'm done talking about the Stormers for today's episode. I still love this team. Obviously, I love this team. I'm only moaning because I love this team. If I don't care about the team, I'd be speaking like I'll talk about the Bulls in a second. But yeah, let's talk about the Bulls and the Sharks. And now it's your turn, Brewan. Because holy shit, you are making it look like fun in the sun, losing at Loftus. Because it's week after week as well. Altitude
Loftus
RFC, you said we will prove that wrong. And you're losing every single game there. What is going on?
Just repeat that. Cut off for a sec.
I said, you're making it look like fun in the sun, losing at Loftus. Because you are doing it every single week. You've seen people calling you Loftus RFC. You said, we'll prove them wrong.
Yeah, by losing. Yeah, I don't have words. Like, I was actually at the game. But nice. I literally half time I left. Like, no joke, I left. The weather was miserable. And look, I thought, the Bulls may have stood a chance in the second half, but like, it just felt like there was no effort. Like, it just great starts again as usual, absolutely phenomenal starts, and then the brain's just, I don't know what happens, but we do something where we let the Sharks gain momentum. And to be fair, right, the Sharks played against 16 men. Like, I'm a Bulls fan, and they played against 16 men. Like, those Sharks players got handed yellow cards left, right, and center. Now, some, yes, valid, some, I don't know. But regardless, like, I think the point I'm trying to get at, right, is just, is this team ever going to be a championship winning team?
That's not even close to a full strength Sharks team either.
Exactly. The forwards were, if I look at the forwards, I'm like, we should be winning that forward battle all the time. Even
we have to remember what we said in the preview, and we were like, this is Bulls all day long.
Like I said, I just don't think where it's going to come from. I think, look, I've been saying this for a long time now, right? I think Jake's done a phenomenal job with the Bulls. I think we were in a point where we weren't ever going to compete again. We were just that mediocre side that could win the odd big game. We had some decent players. It was never just this superstar team like it was in Super Rugby. And Jake, he brought stability. He brought us to a final against the Stormers. But then from there, we start to realize he loses a final against the Stormers. He loses a final against Glasgow at home. He gets absolutely hammered in the Champions Cup. Can't even exit the group. Quarter-final, he takes a weakened side, gets hammered by Saints in England. And you just start to think, like, he's done a lot here, but is it time? Like, this isn't me trying to create like clickbait, but is it time for Jake to seriously consider moving on? Because you look at the team and you think, what more can you do? You've got such good players, but yet again, either the team culture is not there, either I still don't understand what our structure of players is. I understand we want to be physical, but it feels like our backline is someone we just, like, it's there, like, we don't use them. Like Moody and obviously Kirtley's not there at the moment, but when Kirtley comes back, like, we got to use that guy. We got to use Moody, right? Because I don't know. But fair play to the Sharks, right? They brought it, like, seriously brought it. There wasn't an answer.
They were hungry.
They were hungry, right? Like, Ethan Hooker is got to play for the Springboks this year. Has to. Like, I don't know where it will be, but he has to play. And I'd like it to be against a well-established side, because I think he's phenomenal.
we spoke near the end of the year, might have been. Yeah, I think it was the end of the year, actually middle of last year, maybe, right? Of a player like Lorenzo Julius that we want to see more and stuff. And that was a very fair assessment in that time, right? Because like it felt like he was just trying to do a bit too much, right? Not like the hype got to his head, but he knew he was good. The way that he's playing now and how he's found his feet after some consistent game time, because that's what we called for, right? Like we'll take props for that because we said he needs consistent game time and you'll see him shine. And that's exactly what Plumtree has given him. And I'm not a big fan of Plumtree, but I'll give him his props in terms of playing Lorenzo Julius week in, week out, playing to his strength. And you can see what that guy is doing, right? Like he is such a class player when he's at the races. And he was class again this weekend. Ethan Hooker, unbelievable. And it doesn't feel like a stretch. Obviously, Henko van Wyk is obviously in out there as well, right? But he's injured most of the time. So if you've got Ethan Hooker on inside center in the near future, and you've got Lorenzo Julius at outside center, and they start cooking, and you play them game in, game out, and they play at the same club, we could be sorted as Springboks with that center pairing, because we always talk about like Lukania Arm maybe aging a bit, Jesse Creel the same, Damien de Allende, we haven't got that solid replacement for him yet because Andre Esterhuizen isn't that much younger really. All of a sudden, we're singing a different tune, you know? So I like that. And the way that the Sharks are playing at the moment, I mean, you have to say, well done. Because that's not a full-strength team. They're not playing. There's no Andre Esterhuizen. There's no, Apulile Fassi. Even Etzebeth might be on his deathbed. I haven't seen that guy in forever.
No. Look, so it's apparently that he's like, it's a whole concussion thing where like he keeps showing symptoms and they need him to like fully heal. So whatever. I personally think he needed one big rest, and it was instructed by Rassie Erasmus to say, listen, this guy needs
fair enough.
Sharks
don't look like a missing
and that's
him.
fair, yeah. I mean, the guy absolutely goes and physically bomber clock like every single game. But yeah, look, they didn't have Sia, Etzebeth, Ox, Andre, Fassi, Mapimpi. They were missing.
Vincent
That's
Koch
just
wasn't
it. Who?
Was Vincent Koch there?
No, 8. Like, it's actually wild. The Bulls should actually look at this and go, wow, like, what is wrong with
Was
this?
Mapimpi there?
No, so yeah, because I counted him, so 8 just off the top of my head. But it's crazy. Like, Jaden Hendricks also like wasn't there. They only had Grant Williams. But at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well,
but still, Springbok brings experience. Like at the end of the day, the Bulls now have the Lions, right, at Loftus.
It's never easy. The Lions love making it tough for the Bulls.
I'm no longer like thinking, oh, we've got you guys come a week later. I'm like, we both stink at the moment. So whoever stinks the least of the day will win. And it's just like, what?
I mean, we stink a bit more because you actually beat us at our home as well. But okay.
Anyways,
let's move away from our derbies. Congratulations to the Lions. Well done. Right? I don't want to make it sound like we should have won those games, right? Because we would have said we should have won because like the team sheets, it favored us. But the way that those two teams performed, the Lions and the Sharks, thoroughly deserved victories. They were sensational. They truly did deserve those ones, right? And if you are neutral, you always like to see the underdog taking over. I mean, you can't look at that Sharks team really and say it's an underdog, but they were obviously the underdog. You're always underdog at North.
They were.
So, yeah. Let's move on to the other games. I don't know how much of these you watched. I barely watched any, right? So I'll purely go on the score lines. Leinster getting it over the line against Ospreys. We thought it's gonna be a bit. Well, I thought it's gonna be. They'll run away with it, but the Ospreys put up a good fight. Only a 3-point victory for Leinster gives a massive bonus point for the Ospreys, who's obviously fighting not to be at the bottom. But job done in the end, right?
That's still massive for Leinster because if they finish first, right, like I said, I did predict them to win the RC this year.
Yeah, same.
So if they finish first, and like I said, they've added players that are winning like mental winners. Like I can't see them losing this competition. I think to still get results, like we can't do that. The Bulls, Stormers, Lions, Sharks, we can't go to the Ospreys, play a weak inside and win. We can't.
Yeah.
So
Thing
fair
is,
play.
they did have Frawley. He didn't have his best game necessarily, and I want to pose this question to you because it actually got asked on my TikTok. Do you reckon it would be better for Frawley to move? And I think he has to move, not because he's a bad player or anything, but you can clearly see they want to go with Sam Prendergast, right? Like that is the way that they want to go, and I think for Frawley to get into that conversation of playing for Ireland, he has to move. I think a move to Connacht would be absolutely glorious.
For Ulster. It can't be anyone else because once they have Crowley and they'll stick with him.
Yeah. But I like the look of him fitting in with Connacht, with Bundiaki, Mac Hansen in his back line with him.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so obviously, look, I think Leinster have 3 fly-offs in Rossburn, Frawley, and now Prendergast that have all been considered for Ireland, so you got to get away from that because one of you is just not going to get time, and one of you is only going to get bench time. So, I think you 100% move.
And the thing is with Frawley, they throw him out too much with Leinster because he plays 10 there, he plays 12 there, and he plays 15. And I think he just needs some solid game time in one or two positions instead of being just seen as utility and then being played off the bench every now and again or whatever. He has to move, in my opinion. That would be the best move for him. Next up, Zebre, Victors, away from home, in Edinburgh. That is massive. 22 points to 17.
And we were like, these Scottish teams, they always play these Italian teams twice. And fair play, Zebre, you showed us. That's wild.
This is by far their best season in a long time. Like, they've won 4 games, right? They didn't win a game in like forever. They're still second last. That's what I was about to say. Because there's so many other teams that's also losing games. They're still second last.
4 wins, though, that's a massive boost. And Benetton, obviously, also, we'll get to them, but they also, they did what we thought they wouldn't.
The Italians enjoying their rugby at the moment.
They are, and they don't have the Italian players. Like, it's only, like, fair play.
They did what we said Benetton and some of the other teams that we'll get to soon should do. When they have the opportunity to play these weekend sides now, they have to go and get those victories. Like, I know it's a massive task, but this is the opportunity. And Zebra is taking that opportunity. It's absolutely massive for them. I mean, let's actually go to Benetton did get the victory. Apologies. Benetton beat Ulster 34 points to 19. So they did their job again. Ulster, we said, should have done it over Benetton because Ulster don't have that many Irish players, and Benetton lost like the entire squad to the Italian team. But still a comfortable victory in Treviso. We said it's not going to be easy. Well, goodness gracious, Benetton made it look easy. 15 points. There you go. See you later.
Yeah. Like, that's Ulster. Like, remember when Dwayne Vermeulen was there? Like, they were actually such a solid, not that it was just Dwayne, but they were such a solid side, right? If I'm not mistaken, they were up there top 6, like,
always. Quarterfinalists.
Flip. It's actually a shame to see this because, like, it makes me question a move. Like, maybe they're trying to build this team again, which is fair, but it makes me question a guy like Augustus, who's moving from Saints to Ulster, when Saints have literally just won you the Prem, they're competing in the Champions Cup, and now you're moving to Ulster, where it's like.
You think it might be a Springbok move? Where he knows there will be a bit more eyes on him from the South African public. He can really stand out in that Ulster team.
I don't think he gets in past Jasper, Cameron, or Ivan Rose. So maybe.
But if he was considering it for spring, if you purely take it off a Springbok move and you take away your own competition for the Springbok jersey, I think he's more likely to play for the Springboks if he played for Ulster than for
Yeah,
Saints.
probably. He might get the call up or something for sure. Like you might see him get this call up due to injuries or get called up to an alignment camp a bit more. Well, he can't. Sorry, he's in the UK. But yeah, maybe right. But yeah, we'll see. Ultimately, it's a big. He's got to shine there because Ulster's looking very weak at the moment.
Remember at Saints as well, you've got Henry Pollock that can play in that 8 position. Like he's played at 8 man a couple of times. Maybe he is the future and they maybe want to play him at 8. You never know.
Maybe, yeah.
Both of us called a upset victory on this one. Scarlet thumped by Munster, 29 points to 8. This was a bad week of predictions. I really hope.
Yeah, I was looking at them and I was like, we stunk it out. Like,
yeah. Like if I look at it, I had how many predictions wrong? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Yeah,
I had 6 predictions wrong.
Yeah, I'm probably the same. But like, yeah, crazy. The URC is a crazy tournament, right? Like, I don't think it produces the same rugby as Super Rugby. Like, I think Super Rugby is like here when it comes to that. But something the URC does not disappoint in is competitiveness. Like, this league is so close. Like,
yeah, you don't get much better quality than Super Rugby in terms of must-watch TV.
Yeah, it's filled with quality like internationals, and even when you don't see that, you see games like this where it's like the underdogs are winning, and you know they can start. It's just it's a tournament that you never know you're gonna be like in the quarterfinal on that until like the last week. So
yeah. No, but fair play to Munster. We said this might be a hiccup for them. We called the upset victory on this one, and they got a stamp of authority, right? Because the Scarlets have been good this season in terms of where their standard is usually. They're sitting in 8th, right? Like they've still got 5 victories of 11 games. I can't remember the last time I saw them getting 5 victories. So they've been great this season, and Munster has been very questionable. And yet they put out a great performance, getting it done. I know it was at home, but you don't want to take anything away from this Munster team. They're playing with half the players gone because they're all abroad, all part of the Six Nations. So, Connacht versus Cardiff, close game in the end, 24 points to 19. I did think Cardiff might get it done. I think you called Connacht, though, if I'm not mistaken.
I may have, I think I said they may have edged it. Actually, I might have said not, but anyways, regardless, not good for Cardiff because that's your opportunity. These are games you have to win if you want to stick into
especially because they're still in the top 6, but that was a massive one that they could have got because Connacht is sitting in 11th, no Bundy, no
Hansen, no Bielan. Like this was their opportunity to kind of capitalize, which is. Not, I see Tennis the Brains. I don't know where he is at the moment, but I see he's not playing, and that's obviously a loss, right? Because when he moved there, he
was playing some proper rugby.
He was playing some great rugby for them, and I know a lot of the Cardiff fan base love him because he brings a lot to that backline. But that's a big. That's like when you think back and you think like. Oof, because, like you said, like these are the games you have to win. They don't have the internationals there, and it's games you have to win. But it is what it is. But yeah, fair play, Connacht, and just another game that you just don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah, and then finally, the last game of the URC, a walk in the park victory for Glasgow over the Dragons. Finally getting one away from home again. Like we know they've been struggling a bit away from home. Not necessarily in the URC, but we've seen them lose a couple of games. You would have definitely expected them to beat the Dragons. Bonus point, everything, getting their 5 points, sitting nicely in second position in the URC. I guess the best way to put it is just job done. I mean, to play a fully rotated team, because the whole team plays for Scotland, and putting 45 points on the Dragons at home, you'll take that every day of the week.
Yeah. Glasgow, obviously, big surprise to everyone the past 2 seasons. And they just need to keep going, because obviously you don't want to let this be a one season wonder where you win the URC, and then they'll want to defend their title at the end of the day. Like whether they're doing it away from home, at home, wherever, I think they'll want to defend their title, and they have the team to do it. Obviously, their guys will come back, and Franco Smith obviously being a fantastic coach there. It's going to be interesting the rest of the season for Glasgow, because obviously we see a Scottish side that, in my opinion, has looked very iffy, and I'd like to see them.
That's the best way to put it.
If they do quite, if they like, I think I have them 4th, obviously, to finish in the Six Nations. Obviously and I have them losing the Calcutta Cup. Now that's obviously demotivating. You feel like, no, you have to go back to URC. It's going to be interesting. That's all I'll say. But they obviously have quality, so let's see how they can. Obviously,
yeah. I mean, you can already tell it's not a one-season wonder with Glasgow. The way that they've been playing, especially we arrive at them when they're playing at home, right? So, but the way that they're playing some beautiful rugby. They're still sitting in second. They're not going to all of a sudden lose their final 7 games, right? So, no, wait, not 7 games. How many games do you play?
Not 100% sure.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
Right? I think you play 18 games. So their final 7 games, they're not going to lose every single one of them. They will make it to the top 8. They'll probably finish in the top 4 as well, which gives them that home ground advantage. So they won't be a one-hit wonder. Just they've got enough quality there to, and it's not old guys, right? So, yeah. But anyway, a tough weekend for the 2 of us. But I don't think there's URC this weekend, is there?
Yeah, we play the Lions.
Yeah, but so you've got
I think we're just catching up. I think we're doing catch-up games.
Yeah, because we are on 11 games. So,
yeah we're just playing catch-up at this point.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll wrap it up. People, please do remember to hit that like and subscribe button. We do appreciate you guys. Thank you for always loving and supporting us, or even hating us in the comments. I mean, it's all fun and games. Have a good one. Ciao and bye-bye.